Hello and welcome to Galatta Plus. In this episode, we're going to be talking about Ranjith's Natchathiram Nagargiradhu with Dushara, Kalidas, and kalaiarasan. Now, Ranjith cinema has always been about breaking the status quo. In Natchathiram Nagargiradhu, he breaks the boundaries between theatre and cinema. It takes a while to settle into this film's rhythms. In a way, it's a bit like watching filmed street theatre, but this experimentation in terms of form is perfectly in sync with this filmmaker's politics of inclusivity. If everyone should be considered equal, then why should we discriminate between art forms? If a Dalit played by Dushara can be in love with someone from a dominant caste played by Kalidas, then why can't the polemics of street theatre be absorbed into cinema? In other words, why should cinema always be naturalistic or realistic? Ranjith has always been a terrific filmmaker. Remember the sequence around Anbu's death in Madras? But too often, and perhaps inevitably, his politics has always been noticed more, it has been praised more. Natchathiram Nagargiradhu should change that forever. It is his most daring experiment in terms of form. The film sets out its agenda in the opening scene where the Dushara and Kalidas characters are in bed. They've made love, he wants to sleep, she's wide awake. A quarrel ensues, but it is not your usual couple's quarrel. His music is Nina Simone, she's a black artist. Her music is Raja, a Dalit artist. This is an aside. The song she sings, Yen Vanile Ore Vennila, contains a reference to this film's title. The lyrics that follow that phrase, Kadal Megangal Kavidai Taragai Urvalam. It's actually a procession of stars. That is Natchathiram Nagargiradhu. Anyway, she wonders about the significance of marriage. She mocks his dislike of Raja, who ruled the world of South Indian film music for an entire decade, erasing all caste barriers, at least in his art. Put simply, she likes to provoke him. He is content with the status quo. And if Ranjith were a woman, he'd be this character who is accused, as Ranjith has often been, as having caste buddhi or always thinking about caste. Her name is Renee and it is an assumed name taken from one of her favorite books, and slowly we sense that her entire persona, her social identity is assumed, created from scratch in order to erase the oppressed person that she once was. This is technically an ensemble film, but Renee is its center, its beating heart, its protagonist. This is the first time Ranjith is working with a female protagonist, and he, with Dushara, does wonders with the character. In comparison, almost everyone else comes off weaker. This could also be due to the fact that not everyone in the large cast registers strongly. The focus is on Dushara, Kalidas and kalaiarasan. The premise is that a play is being staged and the subject is love, rather the politics behind love, which leads to honor killings and the accusations that Dalits pretend to love dominant caste women for money and so forth. The kalaiarasan character named Arjun is the stand-in for our conservative society. You could call him a city bumpkin. He wants to be in the movies. He's shocked by the casual inclusiveness in this bunch of actors. The gay, lesbian and transgender couples do not get much screen time, but they make the point that love knows no gender. He is shocked when he is handed a broom and asked to clean the theatre with the others. If everyone is equal, then every job, menial or otherwise, should be seen as equal, right? All languages are also equal. We have people speaking Hindi, Tamil, English, Malayalam and even French. Similarly, Thenma's first song, Rangarattanam, demolishes hierarchies. The song mixes Western pop and Ghana, though my favorite songs from the album are Parvame and Perinba Kadal. They are just magnificent. There are two issues I had with Natchathiram Nagargiradhu. One is the perhaps deliberate claustrophobia. Everything, every thought, every scene, every deed is about love or marriage or sex. I would have liked a few detours into someone's profession, for example, or any of the million other things that make up our lives. The other complaint is that some points become repetitive, both spoken and staged. The portions that work best are the ones where the personal is mixed with the political, while the other scenes come off like a panel discussion. But then again, this film is not naturalistic, and so the dialogue is not meant to be invisible. It is meant to be in your face, in extreme focus, and this is part of the groundbreaking form. Unlike Parasakti, for instance, the dialogue is not folded into a story. Instead, the story, such as it is, forms around these dialogues. There's so much to talk about with respect to this film's form. Take the writing. Renee always talks about stars, and she's the only one, at least till the last scene, who talks about stars. Sample line, love is like a moving star. Take the cinematography by A. Kishore Kumar. The slight handheld feel of the camera makes us, the audience, the society, a part of the proceedings, and the use of red for Renee's scenes and clothes sets her apart from the rest. Take the editing by Selva R.K. In the first half, one couple is shown via split screens, while another couple's moments are transitioned through fades to black. And in the second half, moments of the latter couple are shown through dissolves. Or take the real life footage of hate crimes woven into the narrative as a dirge, an opari, erupts from one of the many non-theatre people asked about love. This is the reality behind the play. Light, especially, is used beautifully and symbolically in one scene as Renee leads a character up the stairs. The brightness makes it seem like they are climbing the stairway to heaven. In another scene, a Buddha mural painted over an open door lets in a flood of light. As always, there is plenty to pick apart and decode, as the YouTubers say. The sound too incorporates meows and roars to indicate small and big cats. These creatures become symbolic representations of caste. And almost as if to break free of all this heaviness, Ranjith writes a superb stretch for Kalaiarasan when he visits his home. We are still talking about caste, but the scenarios and the one-liners, the lines actually, are hilarious. Kalaiarasan really comes into his own in these portions. How do you end a film on a note that is realistic and hopeful and fantastical and containing a heart as big as the galaxy? Natchathiram Nagargiradhu pulls it off. Walking out, I wondered why Ranjith didn't send this film to festivals, or maybe he did. Despite the mainstream conventions, the Ilayaraja songs or the romances, this is very much an experimental film. To reiterate the Parasakti example above, the success of Natchathiram Nagargiradhu is that it is not a story that contains ideas. It's the ideas that make up the story. The film goes beyond the categories of good or okay or bad. It's always interesting, and that's what's important. And that's it about Natchathiram Nagargiradhu. If you like this video, do subscribe to Galatta Plus and see you soon at the movies.